Ever since I was a little girl, the outdoors has always been my best friend. It would actually drive my mother insane because I never wanted to come home till the break of dawn. And sometimes she would worry herself to sleep, and I am sorry, Mom, but I am still like that today. Obviously, growing up, you pick up more responsibilities. Work, school, hanging out with friends, getting into relationships when you're younger. And when I entered the school right across my house, everything pretty much changed. I grew up in a very rich and privileged town in New Jersey where everybody was pretty much well off. But not only that, everybody was really smart too. Well, I mean, not everybody, most people. And I wasn't one of them, nor was I the richest, or the smartest, or the most talented. And before I knew it, I was put into special education, and I had absolutely no idea why. It was kind of embarrassing because all the other Koreans in my school were extremely smart, and they were all put into not average classes, but honors classes. And I guess because I was put into a special class with other students who were quote unquote academically smart or talented, I was so embarrassed. And for as long as I could remember, I have worked my absolute butt off. Not so that I could enter into the honors classes, but just to be average. And it came to a point where sometimes I don't even know why I worked so hard. I've translated this work ethic not only in middle school, but into high school, and college, and actually post-college too. I thank little Grace for working so hard ever since she was younger, because if it wasn't for that work ethic, I would not be here today, and I would not be making this travel update video of me solo traveling for the past 6 months. But before I started solo traveling, yes, I did follow the habitual route of going to college, graduating in 4 years, finding that 9-to-5 job that we all really loved. But it came to a point where I realized I had to choose one or the other. Because while I was working, I was in the process of building up my blog, getting back into photography. I picked up photography again because my friend introduced me back into this field, and we both kind of got into photography together. On top of that, I just love traveling so much that everything kind of just worked out, and that is how I created Grace of Kim, my travel blog. So I am creating this video for you today because I want to show you all of the things that I have learned on this 6-month journey right after I pulled the trigger, gave in my 2-week notice at work, had absolutely no idea what I was gonna do, where I was gonna go. I didn't really have friends in the cities that I visited, but I've left every single city feeling super overwhelmed and loved for from all the people that I've met. And I just want to thank you guys so much for supporting me along the way. And for as long as I'm able to, I will never stop traveling. So let's get right to it. Everything from being obsessed with buying one-way tickets, to meeting strangers off the internet, to practicing one of my biggest passions and taking photos everywhere I go. Traveling has truly become a part of me. And wandering around the world for the last 6 months has truly been the best thing that I could have ever asked for. I remember getting off the bus to Maryland. I broke down in tears and I was crying so much on the bus because I realized at this point there was seriously no turning back, and I just had to look forward. But the moment I got off the bus, everything just felt right. I remember sitting at my desk at my 9-to-5 desk job, dreaming about all the places that I wanted to travel to. I remember just scrolling through my feed on Instagram about all these travel influencers taking beautiful pictures out in the wild, and I wanted to stop fantasizing about a type of life that I really wanted to pursue. So I just decided, if I really want to get there, what do I have to do in order for me to get to where they are? No matter how long I could have planned for this, at my 9-to-5 job, I just had to do something, and I pulled the trigger. It is June 4th, 2020. This is my half-year mark of traveling full-time. I've met some of my closest friends through the power of the internet, and because of travel, there are a handful of things that I want to share with you guys. And as the list continues to grow, here are the 7 things that I have learned throughout my 6-month journey of traveling so far. The first thing that I want to share with you guys is that no matter where you go, there are just so many nice and kind-hearted people. It truly just warms my heart just knowing that there are people out there who just want the best for you, and they just want to care for you and just want to be open and be super hospitable about themselves and their city. The second thing I want to share with you guys is that you really don't need much to live. I remember when I was packing, I had absolutely no idea how long I was going to be out for. And because I only had a suitcase and a backpack, I really had to assess the things that I wanted versus the things that I needed to bring. The third thing that I want to share with you guys is that, at least for now, I actually prefer living out of a suitcase than having my own room. And this is one that kind of surprises me because in my entire life, the only times I've ever had to live out of my house was when I went to school, and it never bothered me that I never had my own space. But throughout this entire journey, I've actually been enjoying going from couch to couch and partaking in activities with people who were once strangers in my life to people who are now my friends. And this has really stretched me to want to adapt to new environments quickly, and because I'm always on the go, it just makes more sense for me to just travel to places with just a suitcase and renting out my own place for the month. And yes, sometimes I do admit that it can be tiring moving around all the time, but the moment you find someone who vibes with you well and someone who's down to go on adventures with you, that everything kind of works out and convenient that you're just living out of a suitcase. The fourth thing that I want to share with you guys is that you're not really alone when you're solo traveling. There has been so many more times when I'd actually crave my alone time. I don't know what it is in particular, but when you're by yourself, I think you just tend to be more social and more outgoing and want to get to know more people when you're traveling alone. And it just kind of so happens that sometimes you'll meet people along the way who want to just tag along and go on adventures with you. Maybe they just want to meet more people and experience new things with others, and it's just been an amazing time just being able to meet random people on the streets and just traveling with them for as long as they allow me to. And I mean, sometimes you end up traveling with people because they just invite you into their schedule, or maybe because they just like your vibes and they just want you to continue hanging out with them. But you tend to have a lot more people you could typically talk to. But if you're not naturally extroverted, this leads to my next point. The fifth thing that I've really learned from solo traveling is that journaling becomes your best friend. And yes, I mean, there obviously will be times when you're physically alone and you might be bored or you might feel lonely and you just don't really know what to do, but journaling truly just becomes your social outlet, or you're just your personal outlet. And I journal for a lot of reasons, and some of these reasons is because I just want to count my blessings or just talk about what I did during that day. The sixth thing that I've learned while traveling is that survival mode turns on. Yes, when you're out in the wild, you want to make sure that you're keeping yourself sane and that you're surviving out here, especially in countries that you're not familiar with. It's fun because it comes to a point that when you're trying to scrape for gold or you're trying to not spend so much money because you're budgeting, you start getting really creative, especially when you're trying to make ends meet. I mean, it's come to a point where I've been able to learn how to get free food and free coffee at a lot of places that I've gone to. The seventh and the last thing that I wanted to share with you in this video is that self-care is so important. Through it all, the most important thing you can do for yourself is to make sure that you are taking care of your mind, body, and soul. Not only have I learned so much about myself, but I have learned so much about other people, the world, culture, traveling, photography, that without self-care, that I truly would not be where I am today. All in all, for as long as I'm allowed to, I don't think I will ever stop traveling. People always ask me where I plan on going next, and usually I'm down to travel, but for as long as international borders are as strict as they are right now, I guess all we could do is really wait. Travel has become a huge part of my identity, and I don't see myself changing my identity anytime soon. I just want to leave you with this. If working on a passion project is really that important to you, you will do anything in your power to make ends meet. The amount of sacrifices that I've had to make back at home to make this come true are too many to count. And although some of these sacrifices still kind of hurt me till this day, that I know that these has allowed me to grow and nurture as a human being. So whether it's taking the biggest risk of your life or doing something totally unorthodox and different with your day-to-day schedule, try something new. And to remember, to not be discouraged because results are not immediate. As long as you're persistent, I promise you'll get there. I mean, hey, if someone who fought her whole entire life just to be average, I promise that you can do it too. Thank you guys so much for watching my 6-month travel update video, and for as long as we're all able to, I hope that I bump into one of you guys while wandering somewhere in the world. Bye guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe!